Welcome back for another episode of Transformational Tuesday. This is where you are getting to hear the people's journey of going through their life and in using property as a vehicle for financial freedom. So we have someone awesome, a very interesting journey so far to entertain you on this episode. His name is Mike Smith. So Mike, thank you so much for coming on the program. Looking forward to hearing and everybody else hearing about your journey. Very interesting. I do like it. I relate to it a lot. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, just so people know who you are, what your background is.
So I come from a farming family down in South Devon. Left school when I was 16 and basically never had a proper job. So I've never been employed. Been self-employed ever since I left school. Always knew that that's what I wanted to do. So went off agricultural contracting for a few years, like bought my own tractor and stuff, and sheep. And then probably about 19, I trained to be a plumbing and heating engineer. So I started that on the side then, probably when I was about 20, 21. And about that sort of time as well, I decided that actually one day I'd quite like to get into renting out houses. So that was sort of where it all started. But it was probably another 3 or 4 years after that until I actually bought my first buy-to-let house. So I think I was around the age of 25 when I bought my first one.
Awesome. Good. So, farming. You bought a tractor and you bought some sheep before you were 20.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is very kind of unique. But what I like about that is, all your experience that you learn and watching your journey so far, like you learn from that and how you are actually using, those skills into the property market. But the question is, why property? Where did that start?
So property was one of those things that I knew. So my long-term goal and dream, and it still is my goal and dream, is to buy and own my own farm, which is quite expensive to do. So I kind of figured right from the outset that I needed to have something in the background that's earning and producing like large amounts of money, so then I'm able to go and buy agricultural ground. And long term I'd like to buy like farms and then obviously rent them to like local younger lads to sort of help them get started in farming. That would be my ultimate one day goal to, that's when I think I would feel I've been really successful and achieve what I wanted to do. Just give other people opportunities, basically, because we need to sort of like understand and like I think we need to look after the younger generation of people because ultimately they will feed us. Like we all basic human needs, we all need food. As you can tell, I'm quite passionate about farming, and it's once it's in your blood, you can't get it out. Unfortunately, whichever way you look at it.
Good,
But property is much the same. Like there's a lot of similarities, and again, it's nice feeling to be able to rent someone a house, and you're actually helping them because you're providing them with a home, somewhere to live, and somewhere to be safe and comfortable. So that feels good too.
Good. So a lot of contribution, which is awesome because you're using the vehicle of property to fund your big dream, but along the way actually give back to people, providing awesome place for them to live. So that's why you got into property. So how did your kind of journey start out, and what happened as you started moving along?
So for me, the big start was a property tour day in Wales. So went up there on a property tour day, not particularly looking to buy a house. On the viewing day, we looked at probably, 20 houses. I lost count of how many houses it was. It was a lot. And a phone coming to the guy who was showing us around on the day. And this little house had just come, the deal had fallen through, or the last person who was going to buy it had decided they didn't want to buy it or whatever. And we went and looked at it, and we were in the house, and I was like, oh, how much is this one then? He's like, 24,000. So I said to him, well, I'll buy it. Because I like quickly done the maths in my head. I was like, you cannot build this house for that little money. Like, it doesn't make sense. He's like, oh, no, it's not for sale. I'm not selling you anything today. I said, well, I'm not leaving the house until you sell me the house. I was like, if it's £24,000, like you say it is, I want to buy it. And to be fair to him, he was brilliant. He was like, no, I'm not selling it to you today. You're high on emotion. You know, you're here on a day, you're riding a high. Go home, have a think about it, chat to your partner. If you still want to buy it, then ring me up in the morning, or we'll speak in the morning, and we can do it. And he rang me back the next morning, or I rang him, I think. And I was like, I definitely still want to buy it. Like, nothing's changed. So that's where it all started, with that little £24,000 house. And it's still, that house is still like a perfect model, really. It was really cheap to buy, refurbed it pretty cheap, remortgaged it, and it's been rented out ever since. So it's great little cash flowing property, that one.
So you got like an awesome opportunity to get an entry into the property market.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice find. That's great. So okay, so once that happened, then what were the moves you started to make then to make this dream come true?
So actually I ought to reverse there a little bit. So one of the things I did do was, and it went massively against the grain at the time, but I knew I had to do it, is I sold, in order to get into property, I needed cash, and I'd always spent whatever I had. I spent and bought more sheep, more machinery and stuff like that, and I had to sell that, and I had to sell my pickup, my tractor, my sheep. Most of it pretty much sold, and it really went against because that's where my passion lies. But I did it. I sold it all, raised a whack of money, and that's how I got into it. So I had to. It made me proper uncomfortable, because it felt like it was really going against the grain and really going against my core sort of values. But if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have got that step into it like I did.
Good. Actually, even better, that addition there. So actually, although it's a great deal, you did whatever it takes and started selling stuff.
Yeah,
I like that because people are like, how am I going to do deals? How do I raise money? Okay, you can raise money from other people and there's other sources, but one of the things, and we always say it as well, is sell stuff. So I mean, wow, you selling something that's so kind of close to your heart or you're passionate about, that's a big move. So after you did that, you made those moves, did you buy the sheep back?
So yes, I built back up. I always knew. So we're back up to where we were too. But for a couple of years it was lower numbers, but I knew I had to do it. I knew that and it was worth it. It was, but it did hurt. I don't mind admitting it. It did really hurt at the time. I was the tractor I had at the time was one we bought brand new, and it was the first brand new one we ever bought, and it was just so it did go against the grain massively to do it, but it was worth it. And now, going forwards, it's sometimes I don't think I appreciate quite how far I've come, and then sometimes I do step back and think, wow, actually, I've done. There's people who've done better than me, but for me, I've done really well. And I'm proud of what I've done.
Good, excellent. So after you got that deal, you went through that experience, then what was next for you in your property journey?
So actually after that, so we committed to buy that. I had about, I think about 100,000 in the bank at that point. And said we'd buy that one. And then I think it was about a week or 10 days later, maybe 2 weeks, something like that. One down here in Devon come up, which was an office block to convert into flats. And anyway, done all the numbers on it. And bearing in mind as well, we've been looking at loads of houses, probably looked at 50 houses, and they just weren't working, or getting a bit frustrated because it wasn't quite the right thing coming up. And then these offices come up, and it was oh, right, okay. So back then as well, we did put an offer in, and it's all of a sudden it was sugar, how are we going to pay for this? So we did get bridging finance on them, which was quite a big step again at the time. And so that was the next property to be bought, and we converted them. I'd done a lot of work myself, and good friends, and that helped me. And so we converted them into 2 flats. We still got them. And then, then I got HMO in Plymouth, that one come along, and then another one in Wales. And then I had a break probably for about 18 months when we had our little boy. I probably burnt myself out just because it was those first 5 were in like a rapid succession, probably within about, I would say 18 months, but bearing in mind I was doing a lot of work myself. Basically, I'd finish work like 5 o'clock on Fridays, and then drive up to Wales and do a lot of the work on the houses myself. And I'm one of these people that, like, when I'm up there, I can't rest. I can't. So I'd sleep for like 2 or 3 hours and then be back up, putting kitchen units up or painting or just so worked quite hard for like that 18-month period, and probably burnt myself out, got a little bit fed up with it. I had that little break in between, and now I'm back on it again, and I think we bought another 5 now again in probably 18 months that are all sort of going through. And to be fair, I feel a lot more positive about it now, and I've learned a lesson there that I need to obviously spread the workload and get other people involved. It costs a bit more money, but ultimately I can't be everywhere doing everything. And especially now I've got my son to think about, I've got to make the most of those precious little years with him being small, and spending time with him and training him up to ultimately run it all one day. So.
Yeah, so you got a son, you're doing plumbing, you're still doing that, right? Yeah, you're running
I've still got
running a farm.
Yeah, with my parents, but I'm involved on that as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, good. And then you're doing this property. So going through all of that, I mean, that's some graft there, right? Yeah, and that's what we go through, and you learn a lot of lessons there, and about systemization, and being able to outsource it and all of that stuff. But I mean, what came next for you? Like, what came next? What were the challenges, or what was happening in your life for you to want to start to do something different in property?
So when I got back into it after the 18-month break, I was like, I needed to up the cash flow massively. And that's when I obviously I knew what helped me in the beginning. So I started looking around online and watching videos and just seeing what's out there, and that's when I come across you guys. So I started following you and watching you on Facebook, and I wasn't sure about you, if I'm honest, Mark, to begin with. When I started watching you, you were a bit way out there for me. But then I started listening more and more to what you're saying. I was like, oh yeah, getting interested, and to be fair, then obviously you had an online program running called Come Deal With Me. So I thought, why not? I'll do it. I'll go for it. I'm that type of person. I'll give it a try. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens. So obviously I was successful in getting through to that. And then when I came up on the day with you guys, it was a bit of an eye-opener, when you was about raising the finance, and that is stuff that I knew, but I didn't know how to implement it, and I found it a bit difficult, ringing people and asking for money, because that's what always held me back, and still to a certain degree is probably my Achilles heel, is ringing up people and asking for money. Sort of in the farming world, it's you don't talk about money, it's one of those things. And money, asking people for money is sort of an awkward thing to do. And the whole HMO thing was, obviously I had one, and we still got the one in Plymouth, but we just bought that one as a going concern. It was a real eye-opener seeing when you obviously take from bricks and mortar value into commercial commercial value. That was wow, if that works, then actually this opens up a whole different area for me, where I can operate in Exeter and Devon, because I can afford to pay the higher values than the South Wales properties. So it was a massive eye opener in that sense, and it's that was a big turning point for me, really.